Hey, Joshua Duffy here, once again, youth pastor here at Salem. We have a very unusual opportunity. We're very fortunate and very blessed to have Brian Welch come to our church February 22nd. We're also going to have, you'll see a link below that you can click on to kind of hear what was on CNN, a broadcast of Brian Welch's testimony and his story. But we are having the opportunity to bring in Brian, and I wanted to take the opportunity to just kind of explain why we would bring in Brian Welch to our church. There are many young people that Nate and I deal with on a daily basis within Tomball High School and even Concordia High School, where we are seeing on a daily basis just various walls that tend to go up between people in our position and young people in the schools, whether that's because of a stereotype of youth pastors in general, or of ministry in general, or even misconceptions of who God is and the relevance of his life and the relevance of who he was and his death and what that really implies and means for them in their life. Many of that, for whatever reason, we're just seeing that there was something that we needed to do to maybe shake up some misconceptions or even the perception that young people have about ministry and how relevant that is to this part of their life right here and right now. Brian is a story, and a fascinating story at that we feel confident will not only reach the young people on the very fringe of faith or of no faith at all, but also impact our students that are striving and walking alongside God. One of the things that is so fascinating and so useful with Brian's story is that we'll be able to look at one of our own students that is, walking the way that they should, or at least striving to live the life of a Christian, and they can hear Brian's story, and they're going to have the opportunity to be empowered and encouraged by the fact that they are leading a life that is not only God-pleasing, but to also have affirmed to them that there's nothing on the other side that this world has to offer that will ever fill them up. That they will have the opportunity to hear somebody that had everything that this world could ever give them, and yet they were completely hollow and miserable inside. And so this opportunity with Brian, I believe, will really encourage those young people. We have some that we deal with that are right on the fringe. They're in and with us in Christian community, but they're also dabbling on the other side of life as well. The power of Brian's testimony in and with these students is just the realization of how quickly living life for self and living life for the secular world, how quickly that can get away from you. His testimony is definitely a story of how quickly poor decisions, a life without God, can completely just overtake you. And finally, for the young people that would come into our church that know very little about God or don't know God at all, may even feel that their lives have no hope and have no purpose, that they will hear a story like Brian's and come to the realization that there is hope, and that here is somebody that came from almost absolute bottom in their personal life and in their spiritual life, and yet in the midst of having everything this world had to offer, they were absolutely empty inside, and yet God would reach down and grab Brian Welch in his life where he was at and completely transform him. And I think that's the ultimate message of hope for young people. And so just wanted to have the opportunity to explain what's the rationale and the heart of bringing this person down. I'm really looking forward to, with our publicity efforts and just our efforts of getting the word out with our students in the Tomball area, that I believe it'll be a very impactful night. I look forward to just seeing how awesome God is going to act on Sunday night, and how God is going to use Brian Welch's testimony. Thanks.